Imagine living in a town built on nuclear waste. Sounds like a dystopian novel, doesn't it? Well, for the residents of Mailuu-Suu in Kyrgyzstan, it's reality. Once a hub for processing uranium ore during the Soviet era, Mailuu-Suu is now a ticking time bomb of radioactivity. Buried beneath the town are 96 containment sites, filled with nearly 2 million cubic meters of radioactive waste. The residents, living their lives on a bed of nuclear leftovers, face severe health consequences. Cases of cancer, birth defects, and other illnesses are alarmingly high, yet largely ignored by the international community. Aid and attention are scarce, leaving the people of Mailuu-Suu to grapple with this invisible enemy on their own. This grim reality serves as a stark reminder of the devastating effects of radiation. The danger may be out of sight, but it's far from being out of mind for the inhabitants of this forsaken town. Now, let's journey to a place that's become synonymous with nuclear disaster: Chernobyl. In the early morning hours of April 26, 1986, one of the reactors in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded, releasing an unprecedented amount of radiation into the atmosphere. The immediate aftermath was catastrophic, with dozens of fatalities among plant workers and first responders. However, the real impact of the disaster unfolded over the following years and decades. The radiation released by the explosion was approximately 400 times more than the atomic bombing of Hiroshima during World War II. This radiation spread across large parts of Europe, contaminating land, water, and air. Hundreds of thousands of people were evacuated from their homes, never to return. The long-term effects of the radiation exposure are still being felt today, with increased rates of cancer and other health issues among those who lived in the affected areas. Fast forward to today, the exclusion zone, a 1,000 square mile area around the power plant, remains largely uninhabited. Nature has reclaimed the abandoned towns and villages, with wildlife flourishing in the absence of humans. However, beneath this seemingly serene landscape, the ghost of Chernobyl lingers. The soil, water, and vegetation are still contaminated with radiation, posing a significant risk to any who dare to venture into the zone. Despite the risks, a handful of brave souls, scientists, and researchers continue to study the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Their work is crucial in helping us understand the long-term effects of large-scale nuclear accidents on the environment and human health. They also contribute to the development of safer nuclear technologies and emergency response strategies. As we reflect on the disaster of Chernobyl, it's important to remember the human cost of this event. Thousands of lives were affected, with many still suffering the consequences to this day. Chernobyl serves as a haunting testament to the destructive power of nuclear radiation. It's a stark reminder of the need for rigorous safety measures and responsible management in our pursuit of nuclear energy. Our next stop takes us to Fukushima, the site of the most recent nuclear disaster. In the year 2011, the world watched in horror as an earthquake and subsequent tsunami triggered a series of reactor meltdowns at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The disaster was a stark reminder of the perils of nuclear power. As the ground shook and the waves crashed into the power plant, emergency systems failed. 3 reactor cores melted due to overheating, releasing a significant amount of radiation into the environment. More than 100,000 people were evacuated from their homes, many of whom have yet to return. Today, the area around the power plant remains one of the most radioactive places on Earth. Despite ongoing cleanup efforts, the damage to the environment and human health is far from being fully understood or remedied. Radioactive isotopes like cesium and strontium continue to contaminate the soil, water, and food chain. Even more alarmingly, the plant's operator, Tokyo Electric Power Company, has accumulated over 1 million tons of radioactive water during the cleanup process. This water, used to cool the melted reactors, contains tritium, a radioactive isotope of hydrogen. As storage space runs out, the Japanese government is considering a highly controversial plan to slowly release this water into the Pacific Ocean. This proposal has sparked international outcry, with neighboring countries and environmental groups expressing deep concerns. Fukushima continues to be a complex, multifaceted issue. It serves as a stark reminder of the long-term consequences of nuclear disasters. The radiation released during the meltdown will linger in the environment for decades, even centuries, impacting both human and ecological health. The lessons learned from Fukushima are invaluable. They force us to rethink our relationship with nuclear power, to ensure that the benefits we derive from it do not come at an unacceptable cost. Fukushima reminds us that the consequences of a nuclear disaster can linger for decades or even centuries. We've seen the places. Now let's talk about the elements themselves. Uranium, a naturally occurring element, has a half-life of 4.5 billion years. It's the backbone of nuclear power, providing the fuel for many reactors across the globe. But when uranium breaks down, it can create plutonium-239. This man-made element used in nuclear weapons is a silent yet lethal force with a half-life of 24,300 years. Then there's cesium-137. This radioactive isotope, a byproduct of nuclear fission, persists in the environment for about 30 years, contributing to the contamination of areas affected by nuclear disasters. With its potent radiation, cesium-137 poses a significant health risk. These elements, uranium, plutonium, and cesium, play crucial roles in our world. They power our cities, but they also have the potential to devastate them. These elements, while useful, can also be incredibly dangerous, shaping our world in ways we often don't realize. As we wrap up our journey, it's important to remember that nuclear radiation doesn't fade away easily. We've traveled from the forgotten danger of Mailuu-Suu, a stark example of the devastating consequences of radiation exposure. We've walked among the ghosts of Chernobyl, a haunting tale of the worst nuclear disaster in history. We've felt the lingering shadow of Fukushima, the most radioactive place on Earth, still reeling from the aftermath of a tsunami-triggered meltdown. We've also delved into the atomic abyss, exploring the elements themselves: uranium, the backbone of nuclear power; plutonium, used in nuclear weapons; and cesium, a dangerous byproduct of nuclear fission. Each of these elements, in their own way, shape our world, for better or worse. Remember to keep exploring, learning, and advocating for responsible use of nuclear energy. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.